Hello, and thank you for attending this version 1 session on empowering Agile teams. Today we're going to focus on, with great power comes great responsibility, how to help team members feel empowered, but also helping them understand that there's a certain level of accountability that comes with that responsibility. With that, I bring to light the story of Spider-Man. Many of you may be familiar with his story, but for those of you who aren't, I'll give you a short recap. Spider-Man was involved in a wrestling tournament where there was a lot of prize money involved. He ended up winning the tournament and felt good about being able to pay his aunt and uncle's bills as a result. When he went to collect the prize money, however, the prize coordinator or the fight coordinator had a different plan. He wasn't going to pay Spider-Man all the money that he owed him. As Spider-Man was there upset, that particular prize fight coordinator ended up getting robbed. And Spider-Man had an opportunity to make a decision. He could either prevent this robbery from happening or he could go ahead and let it take place. He chose to let it take place and watched the criminal escape, not realizing that outside the criminal was about to carjack a car that belonged to his Uncle Ben, and as a result would shoot him and cause his Uncle Ben's untimely death. So with that, Spider-Man learned a valuable lesson, that although he had great power, he also needed to recognize that he needed to use that great power responsibly. So we hope by the end of this session that you'll be able to understand how Agile teams can feel empowered and how they can understand that with that power also comes some level of accountability. So enough about me, or enough about the team. Let's talk about me for a minute. Just so you have a little background, I am Lee Henson. I'm a certified Scrum trainer. I'm also an ADDIE training professional and Agile coach and trainer. I'm a version 1 product expert, and I'm the founder of Agile Utah. I've helped many teams complete many projects, and I'm also the author of the Agile Mentor newsletter, which is published monthly. I have a double major in information technology and psychology, which makes it fun. It gives me the ability to get into the head of the developers and to really see what they're thinking. So the big question here is, are you in the right place? If you're an Agile team member or just getting started with Agile, or if you're an Agile expert and been doing it for a long time, if you're a manager, a leader, an executive, or any team member, you're definitely in the right place. This is where you need to be. So for part of our discussion today, we are going to talk about the Agile Manifesto, but not as a whole. We're going to focus on one line specifically. Not saying that the rest is unimportant. It's all equally important, but the line we're going to focus on today is individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Now, working for a tool vendor, obviously I feel the tools are pretty important, but outside of that, I feel more important is the way individuals work together and how they interact with one another and how those interactions can help them achieve success in the Agile projects that they do. Because a lot of times Agile team members are inquisitive, much like our own children. So the example that I like to use is my daughter. She asked me one time about riding her bike. She says, "Dad, can I ride my bike to the park?" My answer was, "Well, no, honey, not now." So she asked again, "Well, what if I invite a friend to come along?" Trying to encourage me to say yes. My answer was still no. What she really heard, though, was, "You don't trust my friends." So she went on, "What if I ride slow?" Of course, my answer was still no, but what she heard is, "You don't feel I'm safety conscious." So she asked again persistently, "What if I walk instead of ride?" And again, my answer was no, but what she really heard was, "You don't even trust me to walk across the street?" So she looked at me with tear-filled eyes and said, "Well, what if I just don't go?" And what she was really thinking is, "Wow, Dad, you don't trust me." So what's interesting is that Agile teams feel very much the same way about certain things that happen within the workplace. We need to make sure we're crystal clear when we coordinate or communicate with these teams exactly what we're thinking and exactly why we feel that way so that the teams can feel comfortable in what we're trying to do. So let's tie it back to the team real quick. So my better question what-ifs are more along the lines of, what if we could engage in Agile methods without any pain? Meaning that everything would just kind of fall into place. Or what if we prescribed to one Agile method, follow it to the letter of law, and poof, they'd be magic? Or what if we had an opportunity to help managers stop worrying about time that we spend and start focusing on what we actually deliver? Now, these may seem like utopia to some of you, but in actuality, if you could promise managers certain things, these what-if principles aren't as far off as they might seem. So, how this might apply to what you do is the next question. What do you do in your organization? How does this apply? Well, sometimes making even the smallest of changes can have a great impact on the success of the Agile project or the Agile team. One example that I have here, the gentleman on your screen there is General Dave Mize. He's a 5-star Marine general and a good friend of mine. I had an opportunity to work with him on a CMM Level 4 project. One of the things that I went in and helped him do as a project manager was, I said, well, let's turn this thing around a little bit. I said, I realize that you're very organized, but unfortunately I'm not. I said, how about if I make a list of all the things I need to do, kind of like a bulleted list, and put them in order, the most important one first, and then went on down the list. Would that be okay? And of course, the reaction I got was, sure, no problem. If that'll help you be organized, that's fine. The next question I had was, okay, well, I realize your time is extremely valuable, and I don't want to take away from all the things that you do. Would it be okay if instead of us meeting once weekly to give you a status report, if perhaps we met once every couple of weeks or 3 weeks and showed you what we physically got done so that we can make sure we get everything done on the right track? I'd hate to get far enough along and not have exactly what you wanted, and of course the answer was that would be fine. And then the last piece was, I really like having the weekly status update, but I think that it's important for me to get information more quickly, so I'd like to have shorter meetings with the team daily. And the answer once again was that would be fine, to my dismay. So what I just did was took a CMM Level 4 project and turned it into an Agile project without even saying the word Agile or describing any specific methodology. I had an opportunity to quickly and easily transition the train of thought from doing something a certain way because we're ingrained to do it that way to doing something a better way because it would give us an opportunity to see more immediate results and more immediately inspect and adapt. So the question I pose to you is, what can you do in your role to make a difference on your project or to your team? And is it really possible for a manager to let go of the reins without inciting chaos? And the answer there, of course, is yes, you can do that. It's not worth it to fall into this vortex of hopelessness and spin out of control into a fiery crash. You need to just take advantage of the opportunities that you have within your organization, even if it be small opportunities. Take advantage of each win and press forward with those to avoid the unlikely situation that someone might recognize that someone's at fault. Because we all know that once it's discovered that a project's going to exceed the deadline or go over budget, someone has to accept that responsibility. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be the executive, other managers, the product or project manager, the team? Who's going to ultimately say, I did it, it's my fault? Well, the first part of the key is to stop pointing fingers and to start searching for clues. So the first place where we can look for clues is in the levels of Agile planning. So we need to take a look and say, are we recognizing the strategy, release, iteration, daily, and continuous improvement that's put into place, and are each of the individuals involved in a project playing in their right playground or their right sandbox? We each have a place in the project where we can provide the most benefit. And I feel one of the keys to having a successful Agile implementation is making sure that we're playing in that particular part of the portion of the project. So, silly question, but does the executive lack vision? The bigger question in my mind is, to what detail should the executive be involved in the day-to-day aspects of the team or a project, right? Executives still need to feel empowered, but they should stray away from using this iron fist approach. So the first people who are going to try to hold someone accountable is the executives. And they have the giant finger that they're going to point down and say, I feel it's your fault. So my question is, what do these executives look for? The biggest thing they want is on-time delivery and precision metrics. So what if we could help them, what if we could guarantee them and say, yeah, if you help us understand and empower us to make better choices and to embrace Agile methodologies, we can promise both on-time delivery and precision metrics. Or what if we could help the executives understand their specific role in the Agile process and help them understand that beyond a vision, there has to be some strategy? Or what if we had the power to help frame the vision and to help them see that this was important to us and that in order for us to continue to press forward as a team, that we wanted to be part of their vision and we wanted to be part of the success of what they're trying to do. The biggest advice that managers or executives love to give is to sail well. Now, this is not bad advice. It's actually very good advice. The only problem with that advice is that oftentimes it lacks direction, or it doesn't give us a final destination